Welcome again, Business Crew. It's Peter Solanikow coming to you from Poland, Bytom in Poland. I'm actually here for a 12-week holiday, which is my annual holiday. It's summertime here in Poland, or pretty much approaching summertime here, whereas in Australia it's winter time, so it's chilly, it's grey, gloomy, and overall not much fun. So this is the time of year that I take the time off and I make my way to Poland. And as a result, it allows me to make movies because I have more time. I don't really have other things that I need to do, so I can focus on making movies, making content, editing it, putting it up on the internet and so forth. So that's why you see me more often than not on location in Poland than in Australia. So that's pretty much my story for now. But what I wanted to discuss with you today are the services of the Business Crew. Who are we? What do we do? And most importantly, how can we help you? Now, I run a small team of business consultants and coaches. There's a mate of mine who is in the Czech Republic. He was educated in Australia, went to La Trobe University, and he then immigrated to the Czech Republic. He's in Prague. And I have another a friend who is located in China. She has a Bachelor of Finance from Monash University, and she pretty much helps the Chinese clientele. And then we've got me based in Australia, but I also travel to Europe every year, and so I help people who would like my help. I've finished university, I then graduated, I then did a specialisation in the share market at the Securities Institute of Australia, and I have also done additional studies where I did a small business management course, and then many years of actually assistance and hands-on experience, not to mention the fact that I have a bit of experience in running businesses under my belt, both in Australia as well as overseas. So that's pretty much who we are. And what do we do? Well, let's talk about me now, because you guys are dealing specifically with me. I help people to make money, if that's what they want to do, or alternatively, just to improve their lifestyle. Now, running a business, which is something that I really love, it isn't only about making money. Life itself isn't only about making money. Now, I thought it was when I was younger, and the previous business that I had was in education. I actually made a fair bit of money. I was actually very happy with that. I actually made a fair bit of cash. I supported a wife and 2 kids, and I had 2 cars paid off, and overseas travel and so forth. That was really cool from a financial perspective. But it was hard. It was a hard slog. It was tough. It was really tough, to be honest. At that stage, it didn't worry me that much. I was younger. I was energetic, and I had a wife to support, and had all these visions and so forth. So it wasn't bad. I just it's part of the deal, really. But upon reflection, what I actually found was that I had created myself a job. A well-paying job, but nevertheless, it was a job. And as I got older, as you experience more, you have different experiences in life, and so you tend to reflect on certain things. And now my approach is different. I don't make as much money anymore, but I am focused now more on quality of life, where I spend a lot of time traveling. 16 weeks of the year, something like that. So obviously, look, I don't have a business that keeps injecting me thousands of dollars every week passively, unfortunately. So the time that I have off, well, it's often time that's not really paid, or it's paid very little. And that's fair enough, because I enjoy myself, I enjoy life, I'm actually living. So some people would like to have that type of lifestyle, live a type of, well, what one person said, have a Peter life. I want to have a Peter life where, we travel and, wake up when you want and go to sleep when you want and not really have a lot of responsibility, but have enough money to be able to pay the bills and live comfortably. Apparently it's called the Peter life. Or there are some people who actually have financial ambition. They want a Porsche, or they want 5 houses, or they want this or that. And that's okay too. That's okay. I can help with all these different things. And I can help in a number of ways. Number one, firstly, for these things to be achievable, more often than not, you really need to be in business. Okay? If you're not in business, then you probably don't have money and you don't have a lot of time. Now, what I mean by that is that, you're probably not a high flyer financially, and you probably cannot go on a 1 month holiday during Melbourne or Australia's winter time and then maybe go for another 1 month holiday during the summer. You're probably in debt, and so you're kind of always stressed out. And that's because that's just what the workforce is. The workforce was not created. The workforce, the employment system or the employment structure has not been developed to enrich people. Like, you don't go to work to be rich. You don't go to work to have a fantastic lifestyle. It's not what it's for. The workforce or the employment structure is there to enrich the business owner. So it's really good to be a business owner and then employ people so that they are able to then support you and give you the life that you believe that you deserve. So realizing that at a very, very young age, I was strategic enough not to ever go into the workforce, and so I started my business when I was still studying, and like I said, finances were never really an issue, and lifestyle was actually quite good, even though there were times when I was younger it was really hectic, but overall, definitely don't regret any of that. So how can I help you? Now, I can help you in a number of ways. One of the ways is by doing some brainstorming with you. You might be at a situation in your life where it has clicked that working is not really getting you anywhere. And so you've probably realized that, look, I've been working for a year or 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or 10 years and I'm kind of not really moving anywhere. I don't have a lot of money, I'm stressed out, I'm getting older, it's just not quite happening. So probably in the next 10 years, it's probably not going to be happening either. And you look at other people and you look at the people who you associate with, and the guy who drives a very expensive BMW, or another guy who's got a Porsche, or another guy who's got a really big house. You notice that he's got a business, and he's got a business, and he's got a business, and all the really wealthy people have got businesses. So you think, oh geez, well, looks like the business is the way to go. But you're thinking, well, I don't have experience in business, I've never done it before, it just seems really, really overwhelming. Well, it's not. The first, I'll call serious business that I had, I was 10. Why do I say it was a serious business? Because it actually gave me pretty good money. I remember those days, when I was between 10, 11, 12, I was making $50 a month, right? $50 a month. Now we're talking 30 years ago, all right? So $50 a month was not like $50 a month today, okay? It was probably like $50 a week in those days, and that's for a 10 or 11-year-old kid. So, I bought myself a BMX, I bought myself little computer games, watch games, and money wasn't an issue. And I sold golf balls at the golf course. So by a real business, meaning I did it regularly. There was a plan, there was a strategy, there was marketing involved. I created little business cards on paper and I laminated them using kind of like laminating paper and I'm very basic, but I'm just 10 or 11-year-old kid, and I did it for years and years and years. and that was a really good business. Because like I said, in those days, oh, by the way, as I got older and I was able to travel further, I went to different golf courses and I was accumulating more golf balls. And then I was selling more. And I used to sell through the trading post. And the biggest sale that I had was I remember that even today, $360. It was to the Swan Hill Golf Course. They bought a whole heap of golf balls because they had a hole-in-one competition. So they needed a whole heap. 360. I was about 15 at that stage. $360, you know, when you're 15. So that is now, that is 30 years ago. That was a lot of cash. So anyway, yeah, I would definitely consider that as a serious business. It was a business, as I said, I ran for many years, and it did me pretty well. So as you can see, you don't have to be a guru to run a business. You can have very simple businesses, or you can have quite complex businesses. So one of the tasks or one of the services that I provide to somebody who would like to go into business is we undergo a brainstorming session where I get to know this person, and then we sort of discuss business possibilities. What are the business possibilities that are available to this individual? Kind of just give them a little bit of guidance. But not just that, but also to shed some light, to give them a little bit of support as well. Because, again, from my experience of dealing with people, some people, they would really passionately like to go into business, but they just find it overwhelming. They don't know where to start. And having even somebody like me, who they can trust and who they know knows something about it, has some credibility in that area, for me to say, look, it's not that bad, you can do it, but not just, you know, these aren't just shallow words, oh yeah, come on, yeah, easy, no worries. No, I'm, you know, actually give them examples why they can do it and why it's easy and so forth, and there isn't as much involved as there needs to be. So that's kind of my role there. So I'm a business consultant, but if it's easier for you to comprehend maybe, or to visualize what I do, maybe a business coach, someone who is there to provide and to support you, to give you that motivation, to give you the direction, as well as to then also teach you skills. But skills is once you actually start doing the business. But before you actually get into the business, like, you can't be taught skills. Like, you can't, it's like in sport, when we're talking about coaches, you don't learn cricket skills before you actually start playing cricket. Okay? Once you decide that I want to play cricket and you start playing cricket, then the coach actually teaches you how to play cricket. Okay? So for you to, first we need to decide what kind of business, you know, whether you seriously do want to go into business, whether you you know, feel that you're ready for your business, whether you are confident enough to get into business. Then once we have a business, you know, idea, then I can assist by actually helping to upskill you in particular areas. So that's something that I do. Now, I have quite an unusual way of guiding people into business. A traditional or typical business consultant, and there are a few of those, will sit down with you, will talk to you, and they will just say to you, well, okay, and they'll look at how old you are, whether you're married, whether you're not married, what part of the life cycle you're in, you know, whether you have a young family, or whether you're going to have a family, or whether you're retired, and they obviously look at your finances, how much cash do you have, and then they tailor a potential business based on these criteria. Okay? Now, I do things a little bit different, and this is based on my philosophy. And my philosophy is such where I believe that you should do and should live off what you're passionate about, what your interests are. In other words, you should monetize your hobbies, monetize your passions. I do that. I love travel, so I have a tourism business. I love business, marketing, management. I mean, I love that stuff. I really do. I can speak to people day and night in that particular area. So, well, I have a business consultancy business. My fiance, who I've mentioned a number of times. In fact, she's looking after this premises where I'm in at the moment with her cleaning business. She really likes to clean. She just likes it. I mean, some people like it. And she's really good at it as a result because she puts her heart into it, and and she's very successful. So she started a cleaning business. I suggested for her a cleaning business. That was a good fit for her. But this is actually done more often than you might think. Take sportsmen, any sportsman, whether it's professional football players, tennis players, swimmers. They are businessmen. They run businesses, right? They make money off their hobbies. And like with most businesses, they have an image which they obviously need to present. They have a brand, which is usually their brand. They have endorsements, marketing, and so forth. They usually have maybe managers or coaches, management, and so forth. So when you see a world champion swimmer or you're looking at a professional athlete of some sort, you just think, oh, sportsman. Yes, but that's his business. His business is sport, entertainment. And so a fair bit goes into that. But, I mean, look at that. I mean, what a beautiful situation when you think about it, right? If it's a guy, he's rolling in the women, right? So he gets heaps of women. He does what he loves. He gets paid for it. He's got a fan base. He's a public person, and he makes lots of money. He's on TV. He tours, travels. Most sportsmen travel the world. So he gets to travel and he gets paid for it. So that is great. That is really, really beautiful. So you can actually apply that principle into just everyday things, right? Now, we all need to make money. We have to make money. All of us do, because we need money to buy things, right? To pay our rent, to pay bills and so forth. So we have to do something. We have to make money somehow. So I'm saying, if we need to make money somehow, ideally make money doing what you really love doing. And it's possible. It is possible for most people, right? And that's another way that I assist somebody. I actually sit down with somebody, like a doctor when you come in, right? Because you're feeling a little bit sick. The doctor actually, he asks you questions. Are you in pain? You know, what's the problem? Does it hurt? Where does it hurt? When does it start hurting? And then he whatever touches you, feels you, whatever, just to confirm certain things. Now, I might not touch and feel you, but I will ask you, what's your hobby? What are your interests? What do you really like doing? Okay? And then after that, I will then say, well, what sort of financial backing do you have? And then I try to work out whether it's possible, whether it's actually possible for you to monetize what you do, what you love in some way. And then I go through that with you, okay? And ideally, we can do that. So, yeah, so these are all possibilities. So that's another way that I can help to get you in business. But not just that, but I'm also telling you what type of business it would be. It would be ideally a business that you really, really love. So then you literally get a situation where you wake up in the morning and you're thinking, oh, cool, I've got a client, a yoga client. Because you might be a yoga nut. I mean, that's another example. I've just made it up now, yoga. Some people like yoga. It's a lifestyle they have, that they like yoga. But they make money off that by running yoga classes. Some people write books about yoga. Some people do videos about yoga. Some people organise yoga camps, right? So they are doing what they really love, what they do anyway, right? Because these people, they do their yoga exercises every single day, multiple times a day, for themselves. But this time they're doing it, and they've got an audience who actually pays them to watch them do these things. So, really, really beautiful situations. So that's something that I do. Brainstorming and also helping to guide you into a type of business. Another way that I can assist you is by undertaking it's basically undertaking an audit of your business idea. When the decision is to start a business, particularly some new business, usually the person who starts that business is really passionate about that business idea, right? And they think it's going to be a goer, because nobody starts a business knowing or realizing that their idea is crap and that there's going to be very little interest in it, because otherwise you just don't start a business if you know that you're going to fail. So every single business startup is done so with the knowledge or with the assumed knowledge that, oh, this is great, we're going to make lots of cash, this is going to be really popular. That's because they are the founders of this business. It's their idea. And it'll usually be an idea which is very close to them, which they're very passionate about. But unfortunately, just because they're very passionate about it, or it might be something that is really important to them, the reality may be that it's not really such a good idea for other people. So there might be, a small number of clients or potential customers who may be interested in this business, but it may not be feasible. And so sometimes you need that person from the outside. You need an outside person who actually has some clues, who's a good analyst. He will then, without any sort of bias, will then actually assess your business idea and go through that with you and asks you questions like, okay, well, how many customers do you think you will have, and what price will you be selling your product at? What will be your margin, right? And by actually asking these questions and providing some, what's the right word? By interrogating them, really, it's an interrogation. By actually going in there and just digging into the numbers, into the situation, the scenario, and providing some scenarios, you're actually getting them to think about it. And in some cases, I found out, the person found out that business is not viable. Because I asked, I'm not going to say tough, they're not tough questions, they're just realistic questions. I'll give you an example. There was one guy he's in Poland, and him and his mate, he thought about having a business where they will be selling second-hand clothes. They'll be importing these clothes from some other country, like say Germany, importing them into Poland, and then actually selling them to people. Right, so I'm listening, because, I need to get as much information from him as possible, right? So he's explaining, this is second-hand clothes, and we can sell it really cheap as well, because obviously, we're not going to sell it at a high price because, otherwise people will buy new clothes and so forth. So I'm just thinking, okay, listening, and I'm thinking, okay, well, there's two people involved here, so you need to have a fair bit of income if you need to split that in two. And then, I asked them, I said, well, is it going to be a shop front? It's going to be shop front and so forth. And I then, when he said that he's going to be selling these clothes for a fairly low price, I said, well, how low? Give me an example, like a pair of jeans, equivalent to like $5, whatever. And then I asked him, I said, okay, so how many pairs of jeans do you think you'll be able to sell per day? And he says, maybe 5 pairs of jeans. Okay. And I'm saying, what about, t-shirts and just other things that he was thinking. So what it actually came out to, that once I actually asked him these difficult questions, well, again, they're not difficult questions, but like these concrete, these really specific questions. He told me, based on his information, that they would be making about a turnover of $1,000 per week, right? So I'm thinking, okay, $1,000 per week, that's your revenue. Okay, there's two of you, so split that 50-50. That's a revenue of $500 each. Now, these clothes are going to be costing you something. They might be costing you not much, but let's just say they're costing you, let's just be very favourable to you, and they're costing you $100, right? So you've got a 400% markup, right? So you're earning $500 each, minus say 50 and 50, that's $450 each, right? Now, we haven't gone into rent, we haven't gone into advertising, we haven't gone into insurance, and so forth, phone bills, travel expenses, because they said they would be traveling, So based on his information, which he thought, this is going to be, because we're going to be selling so many jeans, it works out that they would be making a profit of about $200 each per week. I'm thinking, well, that's actually not much. I'm thinking that's not much at all, right? Particularly where we've used a number of very favourable scenarios. So, and once he reflected on that, he thought, oh gosh, it's actually not a good idea, is it? And I said, well, yeah, idea's okay, but it's not really practical. I mean, you can do this on the side, to make a little bit of extra cash, but to do what you want to do, you really need to increase the scale up, and that means that, you need to put a lot in advertising, like you really need to sell in bulk, right? So you need a bigger premises, and you need, truckloads of furniture, and he just thought, well, that's just too much. It's just, well, I said, well, try again. And that's okay, because there are millions, literally millions of different types of businesses that you can run. So again, had he not have spoken to me, he could have potentially started up this business, which would have seemed to be a good idea. It makes sense. Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't buy a pair of jeans, even if they're second hand, in pretty good condition for $5, right? Yeah, but in this case, he needs to sell a lot of jeans every single day, every single week, every single month. And quite clearly, that's not going to be happening. So, yes, that's another way that we can assist. Since my economic crisis series, I actually had a bit of interest from people who are a little bit worried about an economic crisis. Now, this isn't now business consultancy, but it's kind of like, I guess it's financial consultancy. I wouldn't say financial advice, because we're talking now financial advisor now, and I'm not that. But again, it's not a financial advisor. I'm advising you, buy these shares, don't buy these shares, buy these or buy that. And I'm not saying that. But what I actually do, what I have been doing, I've created this financial, like an economic crisis protection pack or protection plan, basically, where I will give you the tools, the resources, the information, the knowledge to be able to protect yourself against a financial crisis. Now, if you are a believer that a financial crisis in Australia will occur, the general consensus, and I believe that's the general consensus, is that yes, gold will go up, silver will go up, shares will come down, property will come down, and so we know that, right? Or we know that. We agree on that. But most people end up there. They accept that, that's cool, right? And then I'm thinking, okay, well, so that means that if these shares are coming down, well, the best thing is you want to make money. If you know that, then you ideally want to make money. And they say, well, how do we do that? I say, well, that's the thing. You need to purchase put options. And so, put options, what's that? I've heard about it, but I haven't got no clues. So I basically teach them. I teach them about gold, I teach them about silver, I teach them how to access gold and silver, because there are very different sources you can get that from. Certainly have advantages, disadvantages. I teach them about shares. For example, shares is another way you can access gold, through buying mining companies. Then I teach them about put options, how you can use put options as a hedge against the falling market, or you can use put options against and actually make money, lots of money potentially, if the market falls. So I actually teach them these things. And this is in the form of a consultation. So that's something that's been that has been quite good for me, actually. The price for that I charge is $500, and it lasts about 7 hours. So you might think, oh, geez, $500 is such a large amount of money. Well, it's not when you think about it. Like I'm not selling a T-shirt for $500 or a really good meal or something like that. I'm talking about something that could really potentially save you financially or earn you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Something that once you learn it, you will actually have this knowledge which you can use for years and years and years. Now, the information that I provide for you is not something that you can just pick up, like that. You can, because I'll be teaching it to you, but I've actually spent many years learning that. So I'll go through with you in a lot of detail. I'll give you examples. I'll give you, actually show you. It's not that you pay, say, $500 and I'll just email you, a 3-page, font size, 20, whatever, with large margins, an ebook or something like that. No. This is just a consultation where I'll answer your questions, and I'll actually be selling you my knowledge and my experience, and actually show you, what to do, what the advantages and disadvantages, which you need to be careful about, and so forth. So for effectively the price of a weekly mortgage repayment, I pay in rent. I pay $420, so it's kind of like 8 or 9 days in rent. I think that's a good deal. So that's something that I can assist you with as well. So they're the services of the Bizness Crew. These are the paid services, and they come in the form of consultation, where I can actually physically sit down with you and just go through with you and talk to you about all these different things, one-on-one, or if you've got a friend or a couple of friends, then we can do that. And the price is cheaper if there's more people, then per person actually becomes cheaper. Or we can do it over Skype as well. And I provide you files and information in printed format to support the stuff that we go through. So it's a pretty comprehensive service, and it's a financial service. It's a financial service which actually teaches you to have more control over your financial life, and to ideally to improve the quality of life. So if you consider how much everybody spends, how much money, time and effort, resources, energy we spend in school since prep, primary school, high school, and perhaps university or TAFE or whatever, for us to become knowledgeable, and most people waste that knowledge by going to the workforce. So I think paying for information that is very specific and very detailed and very practical, I think is actually quite a good idea. So an increasing number of people are doing that, and I guess they're happy with the results, because no one's abused me or sent me nasty messages or anything like that. I know anyway, because I interact with these people, and I think they're all very happy. I've received presents and stuff like that, and thanks, and that's all cool. So I'm really happy with that. So apart from these things, I also provide these movies. Again, just because I'm learning how to do that, I'm getting more experience in providing films and tutorials online. So I'm kind of getting more into the online content, which is free. That's just something that I just do, and if you get something out of it, great, and hopefully you will. So I'm trying to touch on different aspects of business and finance and economics and strategy, marketing, and so forth. So this is all free stuff. It's all general stuff, and I do hope that you enjoy that. But because it's free, because there's a fair bit involved, not only filming it, but editing it and uploading it and so forth. And because I have 30 other things which I do, not just business things, but also just personal hobbies and interest things which take up my time, putting the movies up is a pretty low priority, because I'm not actually a vlogger, or I'm not a YouTube, content creator. I am, but it's only on a very little scale. So for all those people who say, we've got 200 subscribers or whatever, I'm actually quite happy with that, considering how rarely I make the movies. But look, I'm going to try to make more movies whenever I get the opportunity to do so. I will continue to do that. I get fun from doing that, particularly when people interact and make comments. And there's a lot of content coming up as well. Now that I'm here in Poland, I have more time. So finally, I have a chance to actually tell you what we do, what the Bizness Crew is about, and how we can help you. And if you are thinking about going into business, or would like to get some information about that. And finally, the final thing is, if you already are in business, and if you have some problem with something, if you've got a high staff turnover, or if your sales are coming down, or if you've got some issue, or if your business is going badly, and you don't know why, or you can't handle it, then you can also give me a call as well. And like that investigator or doctor or something, I'll be snooping around and trying to work out what the issue is. How can you improve on that issue? What the problem is. But don't forget, like a doctor, if you come in with a doctor and you actually have cancer, which is late stage cancer, sometimes it's not the doctor's fault when he says, look, there's nothing we can do. Okay. And that's not the doctor's incompetent, it's just that the cancer has just progressed so far that there is literally nothing you can do. And, sometimes it's better that you know that so that you know what the real situation is. And unfortunately, I've had some people who they just have their businesses are just shit. Okay, their businesses are just they don't really have a lot of future, and and I guess these would be potentially the people who might be a little bit disappointed with the outcomes, because they would possibly have expected me to come in and just turn everything around, whereas you just can't do it. The best thing is to actually listen to my advice and just get out of the business while you've got some money still. You've still got some sanity, you still have some money, because then you can always start again, as opposed to me saying, oh yeah, no worries, we can do this, we can try that, and that's just going to extend the pain even further, and then they're going to go bankrupt, or they're going to go out of business anyway. So sometimes the businesses are pretty bad. And in fact, I have a movie up, which is, I think it's titled it's about a warning to Australian retailers. Yeah, the Australian retail industry is really bad, and it's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any better. So if you are an Australian retailer, if you're a traditional Australian retailer and you have your own little shop, wherever it may be, well, just instinctively I'm telling you that it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. So it would be a good idea to watch that movie and just have a reflect on it. And if you want to call me, just call me. You'll find my details at the Bizness Crew, which is businesscrew.com, which is BIZNESS, business, crew, CREW.com.